everyone! In this video, we are going to continue our discussion about suffixes. Now, do you remember what suffixes are and where they go on a word, on a base word? Suffixes are letters or groups of letters that go at the end of a word and they change the meaning of the word. Well, today we're going to look at a special type of suffix, and it's called comparatives. These are words that you use to compare things, to compare either two or maybe two or more things. You have to use these suffixes at the ends of your words in order to compare compare things. Okay? All right, let's get started. We are going to be looking first of all at the suffix ER. Now, when I add ER to the end of the word, I do that in order to compare two things. Only two things are being compared if I'm using ER, okay? Can you find some words on our word list that end in ER? Did you see braver? What's another one? Did you see calmer? What else? Did you see stronger? There's more. I'm just going to stop there. Now, when I add ER to the end of the word, I'm comparing two things. If I use the word braver, you might say, my mom is braver than my dad. Do you notice that I compared two things there, two nouns? I compared my mom to my dad. My mom is braver than my dad. When I added the ER to the end of the base word brave, okay, brave actually has an E, but I dropped the E to add ER. When I added the ER, I was able to compare two nouns. Okay, I should actually say nouns there. It's not just things because I can compare people too. Okay, everybody, so that's the suffix ER. How about the suffix EST? Can you find some words that end in EST? Well, how about bravest? Do you see another one? Calmest. How about strongest? Now, when I add an EST to the end of a base word, what am I doing? I'm comparing more than two nouns, okay? So now I'm comparing more than two nouns. Let's see how that's used in a sentence. Bravest. My mom is the bravest mom of all. Well, I just compared my mom to a whole lot of moms. Definitely more than two. She is the most brave. Okay, so I can use the word bravest. So do you see the difference between ER and EST? I put ER when I'm comparing just two things. My mom is braver than my dad. I use EST if I want to compare something to way more, two or like more than two. So it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, as many as you want. Okay? Now, using ER and EST can sometimes be tricky because if a word ends in a Y, I have to change my Y to I and then add ER. Do you remember we talked about that last week and in previous spelling lessons? Well, let's take a look at the IER. Can you find a word that ends in IER? How about happier? Do you see another one? How about prettier? Let me ask you this now. What was the base word of happier? It was happy. Do you see that happy ends in a Y? When I add ER to happier, I change my Y to an I and then add ER. Okay, that's the rule. Same with prettier. What's the base word of prettier? Did you say it's pretty? What happens to the Y? The Y turns to I and you add ER. That's a spelling rule that's pretty consistent in English language. All right, so with the words happier and prettier, I'm still comparing two nouns, okay? Two nouns are being compared here, okay? I am happier than you. What am I comparing? I'm comparing myself, I, to you. Just two things. Two nouns are being compared here. All right? Prettier. My dog is prettier than her dog. I don't know if my dog is prettier, but I'll just say it for now. My dog is prettier than your dog. Again, only two dogs are being compared. The only difference between this and using just the ER is that my Y had to turn to I, and then I could add ER. All right? Okay, let's take a look at our final one. I'm going to use green for my IEST. IEST is similar to EST, except what? What do you notice? This one has an additional I. Now, I bet you could tell me why. Is it because that a word used to end in Y? Let's find out. Let's take a look at happiest. IEST. Can you find another one? How about craziest? Now let's take a look at the base words of those words so we can understand what happened as I was adding that ending. What's the base word of happiest? It is happy. So what happened to my Y? My Y turns to I and I add EST. How about craziest? What's the base word of craziest? Is it crazy? You are right. And there's my Y. My Y turns to I and I add EST. Okay, EST, IEST is the same as EST. It's a comparative that you add if you're comparing more than two nouns. It's the same, okay? More than two nouns. But do you remember what the difference is? It's that with these words, it ended in a Y, so my Y had to turn to I before I could add EST. All right? Okay, everybody, those are your comparatives, your suffixes for today. We use these words to either compare two nouns, or that's ER, or we add EST or IEST to compare more than two nouns. All right? Okay, everybody, I want you to cut out, sort, and post your words. And please post your sentences by the end of the week. I didn't receive everybody's last week, so make sure you are doing that this week. All right, bye for now.